let's be honest, this is really an eating channel. When I've got a plate like this in front of me, who cares about the cook? Let's eat. This is a beautiful steak, crispy French fries, some Parmesan drizzled around it, got a beautiful white wine and pepper with a little bit of Parmesan sauce. This is one of my favorite steak sauces to make. To me, making a great steak is one thing, but a great sauce, that's what really sets it apart. And this is one of the best sauces I make, according to my wife, who is my official food tester. And if she loves it, well, you probably will too. Now, I really love my USDA Prime steaks, but with the price of meat, these aren't USDA Prime. I went with some Angus USDA Choice, and these should do. But we're going to dry them real well, salt them really good, because the longer they sit and the more moisture that gets pulled out of the surface of these steaks, the better crust you're going to get. So I might have sacrificed a little crust this time by getting in a hurry, but you know what? You can't be perfect every single time, or else you'd have a restaurant, and I obviously don't have one. I just don't want to wake up at 6 o'clock every morning just to listen to people complain about my food all day. I can do that for myself. A couple weeks back, I think I was cooking one of the chicken dishes, and somebody asked me about this cutting board and this cutting board, where they came from. It was Scotsman Co. It's linked up in my Instagram. I think I've done stuff about them before on my Instagrams, maybe pinned stories. I'll have to go look. But I do love their stuff, and it's made right here in the USA. I love to use my knives. I love playing with my knives, but you just can't beat the speed if you're doing a lot of potatoes and cooking for a lot of people of a mandolin for this. So we're going to use this, and I do know how to use this, okay? I've made this before. Anyways, just the ability to make fries really fast takes this to the whole new level here. Be sure you use this part if you're using this part, because you don't want your fingers looking like a French fry. I've found it's easier just to lay a paper towel down or some butcher's paper or something like that to catch the fries than it is to scoop them all up off of everything. I normally don't have the trouble with this. I don't know why it's not locking open for me. Oh well, reckon you'll get that on them big jobs. That's how it's supposed to work. Steak frites is one of my favorite ways to eat a steak. You get these crispy fries. They're so quick to make. You can put this together so fast. One of the secrets to a good fry is, of course, a good uniform size of your potato. And these are a little bit thinner, but not quite as thin as a shoestring. Not quite as thick as like a home-style fry. But it's cooking them twice. Then we're going to pull them out of the fryer and then fry them that last time to get the outside crispy. I'll show you here real quick. First of all, a huge thank you to Laundry Sauce for sponsoring today's episode. Now, me and Whitney, we really try to run this house as a team, and we've talked about it before, but it's a lot more than just cooking it in the kitchen. Laundry's another one of those chores where whoever sees it needs to be done generally will hop to it and do it, because with 5 kids, laundry pretty much runs all day in this house. Let me take you back to the laundry room. Now, this is very much a work in progress, in the middle of moving this laundry room up here. Got the sink ordered, got the cabinets hopefully coming in soon. There's no power on these outlets yet, but it's going to be really nice to have, by the time Whitney has the baby, have all the laundry and everything moved upstairs and not have to go downstairs anymore. The other day I did this load of laundry and I used new detergent, Laundry Sauce. Didn't really think much about it. And Whitney came in and she's like, "What in the world did you wash these clothes with?" And I'm thinking, oh no, I have really messed up. And before I could say anything, she's like, "These are the best smelling clothes that I've ever smelled come out of the laundry." And honestly, she's right. Even my family that has come by has said the same thing. This is the best smelling laundry that I've ever smelled. Laundry Sauce uses high-end fragrances crafted by top perfumers, but it's not just about the scent. This stuff actually cleans. It's made with a powerful enzyme blend for stain removal and fresh fabrics. It's free from parabens, phosphates, phthalates, dyes, and Prop 65 chemicals. These pods are pre-measured, super easy to use. They work in HE machines, and the packaging is eco-friendly as well. And they've got the full setup, from pods to performance fabric conditioner to in-wash scent boosters that are safe for all fabrics and release their fragrance slowly over time, dryer sheets to soften fabrics and reduce static cling. Try Laundry Sauce for yourself. Scan the QR code right here on my screen, or you can go to the link in my description. Use my code BatesKitchen15 to get 15% off. You're going to have a better detergent with better smelling laundry, and you're going to thank me later. Okay, first things first, we're going to start our fries over here. And this isn't really that complicated. We're just going to go about 3 minutes, and our oil at about 375, probably about 355 here. And you don't want them too crowded in there, something they can shake freely. Give them a few minutes. We'll go ahead and set this timer for 3 minutes. So if you're looking at my stove and it looks a little different, it is. I'm having an issue with one of my burners. Do not try this at home. it's cooking unevenly for me. The center is cooking way hotter than the outsides when I use my big pans. So I've put a double rack on here to give it a little more distance and buy me a little bit more evenness there. I don't recommend it because I don't know that it's stable. It's kind of stable, but not the way it was designed. It's just doing what I got to do right now to survive, okay? Maybe a new stove is in it for me this year. I got to find one I like. If you have recommendations, I'm open. I even like this one. I would stay with this one. There's a few things I would change though. I think I'm going to go with one big oven rather than two little ones. Just not enough to hold what I want to cook at the level I want to cook. I'd rather have a big one and use my countertop as a second oven than have two of them over here, because that's what I practically do anyways. That one's too small for anything. And then I'd rather have two round eyes than the big long guy right here, because this thing, I love it, but it's just too small to use like I want. So that's my little spiel. To send me any advice you have. Preferably DMs on Instagram, because going through comments on YouTube to find them again are impossible. But if you've got links or something you want me to look at, send them to me on Instagram, DM me, and I'll check. See what I can figure out. Let's get this guy kind of fat and lay it away from me. I would typically go for a much thicker steak than these are cut, but when you're saving money, you got to save money. And running a cooking show is too expensive to be wasting money on high-end cuts like it's a date night. So I'm going to buy a high-end one. It's going to be when the wife's ready to eat it, not that you guys aren't special, but y'all can't taste it anyways. If you want good crust, though, don't do this. 2 in the pan is all you need for good crust. You shouldn't have put that third one in there, Zach. The coarser your black pepper is, the less likely it is to burn in a hot skillet. But pepper will burn at searing heats. So I didn't pepper the initial sear side. But on this side, I need to press this steak down anyways. I'm going to put some really coarse ground pepper up against the steak, get a little bit of a pepper crust. There's something about black pepper with steak and fries. They were made for each other, and you'd be amiss if you'd be remiss, I think would be the correct word, if you messed that up and didn't put them together like they were intended. And this is just sitting here because I just seasoned it. Not being used for anything. Speaking of that, we might as well put it to use. So, if you want to get close to these fries here, Dan, I'm pulling these out right here. As you can see, there's no browning. They're cooked, or parboiled, well, par-fried. They're cooked through, but they're not crispy yet. We're going to let them sit there and rest. We're going to drop the other batch in for 2 or 3 minutes. And then this will make our fry so much better. You struggle with home fries, they're all airy inside, or they're just not getting the flavor and the texture you're wanting. This is probably what you're doing wrong. This is what the restaurants do to make their fries better. It's cooking them first. You can actually freeze them after this. If you really have the time, freeze these the night before and get even puffier. And then we're going to boil them a second time to get that crispy. So much better with frying. If you don't believe me, try it one time. Come back and tell me I'm wrong. You'll be coming back to tell me I'm right, but it's okay. Still not in love with the evenness of my cooking over here. It's great in the center, not on the edges. It's a good thing this episode isn't about the steak, because I would be disappointed. Go back and watch my steak and salad, the steak and wedge salad video for how to make a good steak, because this one, due to my oven issue, is not crusting like I would prefer. While I wait, I'm gonna grate a little parm. 2 things are gonna get parm in this recipe. And one is just a little bit on these steaks. Just a little bit on these fries, because Parmesan and pepper and a little bit of chive are just a wonderful addition. And the rest is going in this sauce. And this is my wife's favorite sauce. I make a lot of different steak sauces, hands down, her favorite sauce. And this one is a little bit lighter than my other steak sauce. When you try it, I think that you might never look at a steak the same way that doesn't have it. And the Parmesan adds that umami, adds a little body to it. It just really makes quite a special sauce. I often will do mushrooms with this as well. I'm not taking the time to do that today. I probably should have. Maybe we'll do that at another time. A little thyme, rosemary, one of our garlic cloves in there. Fries, dump them out and let them sit. These are some pretty thin steaks. I should probably check their temp. They don't leave a ton of time for butter basting. Oh yeah, that one's done. That one's done. Even that one is pretty close to done. Remove my herbs and pour some of this butter over the steaks here. Leave just about a tablespoon in there. For our shallots, we'll sweat these guys down. Let's reduce this heat pretty far. I'll scrape up a bit of this fond as I'm going right now. It's okay if all of it doesn't come up, because we're going to deglaze it here in a second. Now I'm going to press my garlic. The shallot is getting translucent. We don't want to burn that. And the rule about garlic, you guys should already know. We just kind of run it around in here until we smell it. Once we smell it, 60 30, 60, 90 seconds, somewhere in there. Once we smell it, it's good. Now, this is the secret to this, some good dry white wine. I'm gonna go in with about a quarter cup, maybe a little more. I'm gonna run this down until it's almost dry, just aggressively deglaze here. Now I'm gonna grab a whisk. That'll make things a little quicker. And this will get all those brown bits up. We're gonna get all that, especially if we've done mushrooms. We would have done mushrooms before the shallots, the wine, and all of that. The mushrooms will go in dry, then the butter, then the shallots. We'll do that another time. We're going to aggressively reduce this down. Let's let it bubble. Get this deglazed until it's pretty much dry in the bottom there. And we're going to drop our fries back in. They've had time. Now we're going to go until they brown up nicely. Now we're waiting for these fries to get good and nice and brown. So I raised this up to be more even, and it's hard to get the temp right too, because I'm used to where the knob goes to know where my temps are, and they're not quite in the same place anymore. So just a little bit of a learning process over here. I wanted this to be more aggressively reducing than what I called an aggressive reduction earlier. Now that is almost dry. That is cooked out. Let's go in with about a quarter cup of beef broth. Feels like a quarter cup. And then we are also going to do some coarse ground black pepper in there. And when this reduces by about half, we'll add in our cream, parm, and finish with butter. Now, if you're going to strain this sauce and make it look more elegant, you would do it before you put the pepper in, after you put the broth in. You could strain all of the shallot, garlic, and elements like that out and make this a smoother sauce with just the cream sauce, the pepper, and the Parmesan. But something about doing it with the fries, I like that rustic, chunky sauce, and I think it complements these fries well. Look at these guys, perfectly golden. Look how beautiful those are. Those are going to be good. So now is the time to add in our heavy whipping cream. A half a cup of that. Mix that together. Little Dijon adds so much. Little Worcestershire sauce. Just a couple shakes. We're not going to add any salt to this other than what the steak's cooked in, because Parmesan is very salty. So we will check our salt at the end. If you're noticing, I normally add salt all through, and it is not there yet. That is why. Let this just thicken just a little bit. You'd probably go with a touch more cream. So I'm looking for this sauce to thicken up. I don't need to quite make it leave a huge trail, but I do want it to be just a little thicker than that, because it's going to thicken a little bit with the Parmesan that we add to it. Now let's drain those fries off. Look at those, just beautiful golden. While they're still oily, we'll hit them with a little salt. We're still draining. We'll hit them with a little parm. More than a little. Whoa, that got too hot. You don't want to do that. Wasn't paying attention. Let's cool that down a little bit. Thankfully that didn't curdle. That could have been really bad. That will often cause a curdle or separation. Thankfully we didn't. That could have been horrendous. You want the sauce to coat the back of a spoon. So if we take a spoon in it and we stick it in there, we want to be able to come across the back and it's well coated. So that's good there. Let's kill the heat. Again, this sauce is missing the salty component. And that is by design, because the parm. Let's work in some of this parm. It doesn't take much. Let's get till smooth, just a little more. Hard to see as smooth as it's gotten because of all of the unstrained shallot, garlic, etc. Honestly, it doesn't even need salt at this point. That's the perfect blend. We're going to go with that right there. Now, to finish any good pan sauce, we're going to take about a tablespoon or two of good butter with the heat off, and we're going to whisk this in. This will give the sauce a really glossy finish, and it adds a kind of a fatty flavor to it. Helps, especially with steak, something that's going to have that fatty flavor that you want, very filling. This is a skipped step that I used to skip a lot when I was making a pan sauce, because I didn't realize how important it was. But it is one of my favorite parts of a good pan sauce, and it's needed, is finishing with that cold butter, just stirring that in there. You can see the sauce is just a beautiful, rich, glossy sauce that any steak would be honored to be eaten with. So like I said, this one was not about the steaks. We got some, I normally don't do little thin steaks. We're not going to look at the fact that these may be more my kids' temp than my personal temp preference. We'll slice these guys up. Eat the ends like a good dad should. My dad ate the ends, and it never hurt me. So I think that's what you're supposed to do. If I'm wrong, somebody tell him. Now, I love a good ribeye, but something about this sauce just calls for something a little bit leaner, and I think that New York strip or even filet is the perfect pairing for this steak frites that I make. And I think if you try it, it goes great with any steak, but you would probably agree that the New York strip is the perfect balance for this one. So a couple different things we can do here. I'm gonna try plating this up to look good. Well, I already know it's gonna taste good. I'll try this a couple different ways here. Let's see what we can do. I have been loving, with this one, I especially love putting a little sauce on the bottom, and I'll tell you why. A little sauce on the bottom of this one, it's not really seen as much, but any of the juices that come out of the steak as it continues to rest on the plate mix in with this sauce and make such an excellent addition to the sauce, because it just adds so much to it. Oh, look at this. This is gorgeous. I can't wait to turn this plate around. Truly a thing of beauty. We'll take that out of there. Just didn't fit. That's all there was to it. We should surround the steak with the fries. Oh, this looks so good. Just a bed of fries, it looks like. Oh, that's so good. And then we'll just run a tiny little bit of this sauce right down the middle. And, oh, a little bit of chives for the steak. A little bit of parm for the fries. I think that is a gorgeous plate of food. Take a look at that. When I've got a plate like this set in front of me, there's nothing left to do but eat. And wow. Should have picked a smaller piece. There's nothing like a tender bite of steak with just that beautiful sauce pairing with it. You got these fries. They dip in this sauce so well. Honestly, the fries might be even better with the sauce than the steak is. This is one for the ages. A recipe your whole family will love. You want to treat your girl this Valentine's? You want to treat yourself this Valentine's? This one right here is the one you need to be making. I was going to leave this off camera because I'll be honest, I dumped the rest of the sauce into a jar because while we were filming, my producer, my wife, my kids, they were all coming through and dipping these fries in this sauce because this is better than ketchup. Well, of course it's better than ketchup, but this is probably one of the best things that you'll eat. It's addictively good. Probably one of the best things you'll eat this month. If you want to put a ring on somebody's finger, this right here will do it. That right there, it'll get you out of the doghouse. It'll get a ring. It'll get her to say yes. It'll get you to say yes. One of the best meals I've cooked. You need to try the Bates Kitchen steak frites and whatever this sauce is. We're gonna call it Zach's sauce. Nobody has that, do they? Somebody out there name it for me. Call it Zach's sauce. I don't care what you call it. Send me some names down in the comments because this right here, I should have patented this before I shared this recipe. You're going to thank me later.